Hey there, true crime friends. It's time once again for lunchtime true crime. I'm holding Holly so that she does not bark through this entire video. She's driving me out of my mind this morning. Please sit still. Hi. Okay, so look. First of all, like this video, subscribe to the channel. We need to talk about Miss Clara Harris. Do you remember this story? This story happened in the early aughts, and I remember when it was in the news, this was a scandalous story. So look, let me tell you what happened. Clara Harris, a dentist, was married to her husband, David Harris, an orthodontist, and they were a cute little happy couple. They met. Clara immigrated from, I believe, Colombia. And she was like, I am going to make my American dream come true. She married a nice man. They built a thriving dental practice, 6 offices. Oh, they had that kind of money, y'all. Okay, good for y'all. Good for y'all. Get that good teeth money. So they built 6 practices across Texas, and she primarily ran one, and he ran the other, and they sort of like floated between all of them, and they were living happily ever after, for the most part. David had a child, like a teenage daughter from a previous relationship, and then the two of them got together, and they had twin boys. So cute. Here's the thing, though. After the kids were born, Clara was busy. She had a stepdaughter. She had 2 young children. And so she was not paying as much attention to her marriage as she used to. And David was like, you not paying attention to me. Oh, look, there's a cute new secretary here at the office. And so he started giving all his love and affection to the secretary. Sir, that's not how that's supposed to go. So all the people in the office were like, Clara girl, your husband is all up on the secretary all the time. In fact, one time at the office, the secretary, Gail Bridges, dropped a folder, and instead of just squatting down and picking it up like she had some common doggone decency, she bent over and tooched her booty out real far in front of David, her boss. Everybody was like, look at her showing her booty to the boss. Okay, Clara, you see what's going on here? So Clara was like, I'm going to take proactive action. And I'm going to get to the bottom of this. So she sat her husband down like he's supposed to. And she was like, listen, we need to have a conversation. Are you boning the receptionist? And he was like, yes. Yes, I am. All over the office, every place you can imagine, the Bo Nation is strong in this one. And so, yeah, that's what we're doing. And so she was like, okay, I love you. You love me. I'm going to need you to stop, doing the oochie coochie with the secretary. And he was like, right. Yeah, that seems like a good idea too. And so she's like, look, I'm open-minded. You can still be friends. Why is this phone rocking back and forth like this? You can still be friends with the secretary, but you cannot enjoy marital congress with her. You're supposed to be marital congressing with me. And he was like, right. I totally forgot. But now that I remember, thanks so much for refreshing my memory. I am committed to this marriage. And she was like, that was so easy. I'm glad we had this conversation. But listen, while I have you, a couple questions. Clara girl, leave it be. Take that yes, take that win and keep on moving. So she was like, I have some questions. Can you tell me the good things about me? Because you haven't said anything nice about me lately. He's like, you're smart, you're dedicated, blah, blah, blah. Told her all the nice things. And she was like, okay, so if all those things are true, what does that harlot over there, what does receptionist Gail Bridges have that I do not have? And he was like, well, she does whatever I want. She has big lady humps. I love her blonde hair, and she's nice and trim, whatever. And so if you could do some of those things, this is going to work out fine. And she was like, oh, that's all? Those are shallow things. Okay, you love my mind. I'm about to get my body together. I did, after all, have twins. So I'm going to hire a trainer. She hired a trainer. She went to the hairdresser, got her hair done blonde. Girl, you don't need to do that much changing for a man, in my humble opinion. If he doesn't like you for you, then he going to have to go. She can have him. She going to take your little receptionist and go and do what you going to do. So, Clara schedules an appointment for breast augmentation. Girl, for real? Okay. Hires a trainer, gets on a diet, starts working out. But she's like, David, listen, one last thing. You're going to need to fire that trollop. And he was like, sure, of course. I'll fire her. What do I care? She's just a side piece. And so, hang on. You know me. I done talk my throat dry. So, David was like, okay, I will fire my mistress. And Clara was like, look, I'm not unreasonable. Y'all can still be friends. Clara, no ma'am, that's not a thing. She's like, y'all can still be friends, and you can go to dinner with her. And I I know Gail. She seems like a nice enough lady. Take her to dinner, break it off with her, have a conversation, and then bring your behind back on home, and you can enjoy some of my flabbiness while I'm still working out, and I'm going to give you some more of the marital congress so you don't have to go outside the house and get it. Here's Clara's mistake, in my opinion. She assumed that she was going to do all these things, and that was going to fix the problem. That's usually not how that works. So, and also, you can't just send her a text message. Child, she is the side piece. You break up with her over text while I'm watching. And then that's that. Take her to dinner and have a... Anyway. So, David takes Gail, his little mistress, to dinner. And they have a conversation. Apparently, the conversation went well. So well that they decided to go to the Hilton. Okay. And Clara was like, listen, I have been liberal. I have been understanding. I have allowed him to have a breakup dinner with this lady, but I'm going to trust and verify. So she was like, hello, Private Eye, local private investigation agency run by women. Good for you. Girl power. Woman power. She hired a private investigator and was like, go on and follow him and just make sure he's doing what he said he was doing. Also, word on the curb was that Gail Bridges also had another lover who was a woman. And so Clara was like, number one, I'm going to prove she has this other lover. Number two, I'm going to prove that she's also like a secret lesbian or bisexual or whatever. Maybe that'll make my husband not want her more. Here's a hot tip, Clara. That would probably make him want her way more, but you ain't heard that from me. So Clara was like, okay, you go on and follow them and we'll see what happens. So when her husband goes out to dinner, 20 minutes later, here's Clara. Hello, private investigators. How's my case going? They were like, ma'am, we don't give real-time updates. And she was like, no. Yeah, this check is clear. Now, what you're not going to do is tell me I'm not going to get an update. I'm going to need an update of what's going on. And they were like, okay, let me check in with the agent and I will get back to you. Clara was half an FBI agent. You know it's not a woman alive who's not half an FBI agent. Clara was like, okay, it's only 5 people here at this agency. I'm just going to call all 5 and see which one is following my husband tonight. So she hunted down the woman who was following her husband, which I was like, girl, you should have just followed your husband yourself because that probably would have been easier. But anyway, she called up this girl, was like, hey, listen, how's the sting going? You got my husband? And the girl was like, yeah. I'm here now. I'm following your husband. He and Gail just went into the Hilton. So good news. There's going to be proof of infidelity. And Claire was like, wait, what now? They were just supposed to go to Taco Casita. What they doing at the Hilton? And the private investigator was like, well, yeah, they went to the Taco Casita or wherever, but they're at the Hilton, and I saw them go into the Hilton holding hands. So don't you worry, we're gonna have all the proof we need. And Clara was like, okay, thanks so much. This is not what I had planned for. I told him to break up with the heifer. Now they at the Hilton. Now what you're not gonna do is continue to do the ooch coochie with my husband after I told you no more. So Clara was probably not that calm. She grabbed her 16-year-old stepdaughter and was like, hey, come on, let's go find your daughter, your daddy and the harlot, and we're going to go visit with them. So they go up to the Hilton. You know, Clara. Hello, excuse me, Hilton manager, what room is David Harris in? And they were like, we have hotel guest confidentiality. And so she was like, okay. They were like, we don't have anybody with that name. She was like, okay, do you have Harlot Gail Bridges? She might just go by Gail. And they were like, okay, hang on. Yeah, nobody with that name. David, you know your wife. It was probably smart of you to not use your name. It was probably also smart of you to pay cash because you know this heifer was going to hunt you down. So she was like, okay, thanks so much. I'm going to go back to the parking lot and I'm going to hatch an evil plan. So she goes to the parking lot with her stepdaughter. And the stepdaughter was like, I have seen the way that daddy looks at that Gail Bridges. And so I'm very upset with him. So they were like, Clara was like, no. This is what we're going to do. We're going to you call him on your phone and I'm going to call him on my phone. We're going to tell him that the boys are sick. And so, because they had these little twin boys, 4 years old. Hang on. Tell him he has to come home because the kids are sick. So the daughter calls and Clara calls and they're like, okay. The father was like, okay, I'll be down there in a couple of more strokes because you know, whatever. So, few minutes goes by. Here's Clara and the 16-year-old daughter waiting in the lobby. But first, Clara was like, I think I see they have that's her car? Hang on. She went and keyed the mess out of this woman's car, just all down one side, all up the other side. Clara, girl, that's not right. I understand. I'm not saying I don't understand, but you're not supposed to key nobody's car. Okay, fine. So she's like, okay, wait, 20 minutes has gone by. Okay, we know. What do you think they was doing in that 20 minutes? Brushing their teeth, talking to Jesus, holding hands, reading scriptures in the Bible that's there in the drawer? I'm guessing no. Anyway, so they come down out of the elevator holding hands, and here comes Clara. Look, they over here at the Hilton, the same Hilton where Clara and David had their wedding reception. Clara was overcome, and so she grabbed Gail and leapt up on her. This had to be a scene. Y'all out here fighting in the hotel lobby as though it's the Motel 6. They have defiled the Hilton, y'all. Not the Hilton. The Hilton when they have the wedding receptions and that. Okay. So she didn't just say, ma'am, please don't touch my husband. I don't appreciate that. She grabbed Gail, slammed her to the ground, and began to bang her head on the marble floor. Oh, they had marble? That's how you know it was a nice Hilton. She out here defiling the Hilton. Anyway, banging her head on the marble on the floor. So the Hilton people was like, Heifer, please, you can, this is a nice place. You see these business people? We have weddings going on. You cannot be banging nobody's head. Also, concussions, CTE, you could kill a person doing that. No, murder is not allowed here on this property. We're going to need you to take it to the parking lot. In the course of beating the stew out of Gail Bridges, Clara ripped her top off. So let me get this straight. You got a bad headache, a concussion, probably all kinds of lumpations all over your head, and you got no shirt on. Clara was feeling a little bit emotional. So security came. You could hear the 10,000 911 calls. Hello, 911. One heifer's beating the stew out of another heifer right here in the hotel lobby. You know this was before they had those cameras on your phone, because everybody would have been like, forget 911. I'm getting this for the internet. Anyway. So there's no footage of Clara beating the stew out of Gail, which P.S. Girl, you should have been beating the stew out of your husband, because Gail ain't promised you nothing. That man promised you forever. He also promised you he was not going to throw a hump into Clara and to Gail no more. But okay, whatever. Call me crazy. So the security is like, we're going to escort everybody out. If you'd like to file a police report, please go on down to the police station. Take it on out of here, because we are a decent establishment. So they escort Gail and David over to Gail's car. How come David didn't go with his wife? Asking for myself. They escort the daughter and Gail over, the daughter and Clara over to Clara's car. Well, Clara is no fool. She's also still real mad. So she's like, okay, thank you for the escort. I'm leaving now. And she gets in her car, her Mercedes, her prize Mercedes, because to her, this Mercedes was a sign that she had made it. And she's like, let me navigate this Mercedes right over here. Oh, is that the trollop? And so she goes now, according to Clara, she was just trying to ram Gail's car. Okay, number one, that's a bad idea. You're not supposed to, you've already keyed her car. Ma'am, that was enough. I am not certain that Geico was going to cover the damage that you're going to do to your own car trying to mess up her car. But she's like, we are millionaires. We have 6 dental practices. And I can afford this. Also, she's over here doing nasty things to my husband. And my husband's certainly doing nasty things to her. So, according to Clara, I was just trying to ram her car. What had happened, though, was that David got in the way. And so she hit David with her prize Mercedes. And then, of course, Gail is hysterical. Her shirt's not on. She got all the lumpations all over her head. Clara was like, hang on. Circles the parking lot and runs David over again. And circles the parking lot and runs him over again. Meanwhile, the private investigator is outside and was like, wait, what is this action we see here? And trains her camcorder. You know, she probably had the big one that you had to like mount on your shoulder, because this was the early aughts. and she catches on video Clara circling the parking lot. All she sees is this crazy woman driving in circles, not realizing, oh, that's Clara running over David again and again and again. Ma'am, we understand that you're upset. You're not allowed, no matter how mad you are. Now listen, when you was inside, should you have been punching people? No, not at all. But that probably would have been better if you just like smacked your husband and then stormed out in dramatic fashion and not hit him with your Mercedes 5 times. She didn't just hit him, she ran over him again and again and again. And then, because that's not enough, threw her car in reverse and backed up over him and parked on top of him. Man, we understand you're feeling emotional. You've gone too far. Signs you've gone too far. After the first time you hit him with the Mercedes, that was bad. By the 4th or 5th time, child, Also, I heard that she had put a deposit down on getting a boob job. You gonna be able to get your money back, girl? Because now you done messed up your deposit. You're probably gonna have to go to jail. What? Anyway, so, because that was not enough, Gail is like hysterical screaming. The private eye is recording the whole situation. The daughter is like, oh my God, you're killing my dad. And so the Gail leaps out, not Gail, Clara, the wife, leaps out of the car, runs over and grabs David, lifts up his head. Ma'am, I don't think you're supposed to move him after, but she did just hit him with a car 5 times and then tried to park on top. Well, she actually did park on top of him, pulled him into her lap and said, David, David, look what you made me do. Clara, girl, you have lost the plot. I mean, what? They say that David was laying there all jacked up, still alive after being hit with a Mercedes 5 times. Because of the way she ran him over and sort of dragged him, both of his ears were missing. She's like, David, look what you made me do. Until finally a bypasser was like, Heifer, you crazy, smack! And smacked Clara. Well deserved at this point, because she basically a murderer and an assaulter and a crazy person. Got her off of David. They got 911. He's dead by the time they got to the hospital. You got to know that, like, he was not going to... Clara, ma'am, I understand sudden passion and emotional distress. You took it too far. We can have a different opinion on this, but in my humble opinion, you have taken it too far. Think of all the teeth you could have been fixing when you was out here. You just messed up your whole life over this Mama Luke. Child, please. Let her have him. Let them have each other. Sometimes the garbage takes itself out, and you should have just let the two of them go on and live their happy lives together. I would have took all them dental practices. I would have taken my children. I would have taken every single thing. Okay, Miss Gail Bridges, you can have him. He gonna have your condo that y'all living in, and that's it. I would have had everything. But instead, David's dead. And so she's like, I'm very sad and I'm very sorry for what happened. And it was clearly an accident. I only hit him once. Ma'am, that private investigator that you hired has the video of you running over him 5 times. But she got money. So she hired an expert to say, you see my headlights just bumping up and down. That's not me hitting him. I was running over a curb in the parking lot. Ma'am, first of all, you're not supposed to hit him even once. I'm not sure if you know how laws work, but murder, they don't, that's not a thing. So she was like, right. Okay, I'm gonna go to court. And if there's one woman on this jury, they will not convict me. Clara played that wrong. So she goes to court. And so she was like, this happened and that happened. I didn't really hit him. I like lightly murder. Like it was an accident. It was a car accident. He's now no longer alive because there was a car accident when I was trying to ram her car. Also illegal, but I was just trying to ram her car and he got in the way. Like if he had not gotten in the way, Clara, girl, we have a highly sensitive recording device in our face. It's called our eyes. We saw what happened. So anyway, She gets convicted. And she was like, okay, fine. I'm convicted. But this is Texas. And Texas got different kind of laws. Texas has a thing called sudden passion. So if something inspires you to be suddenly passionate, you could get no time. Apparently, in Texas, if you have sudden passion and you unalive somebody, you could get as little as probation. What? What, Texas? Texas is its own thing. Florida is its own thing. Texas is definitely its own thing. Texas is like, yes, you hit somebody with your car 5 times, but that was sudden passion. And you saw, he was there with the side chick. You know, them Texas ladies was like, well, I admire her restraint. Only 5? Well, I would have hit him 10, whatever. So, although the judge didn't feel that way. The judge turns out familiar with laws. And the judge was like, yeah, nah, girl, you can't, you can't just be out here running people over with your Mercedes. Like, that's not, So Clara was like, I stand here and I will take my punishment, whatever it is. I know she fully expected to get 3 years because apparently in similar situations, average in Texas, 6 years. 6 years on a sudden passion unaliving. Okay. So if you want to unalive somebody and do just a teensy piece of time, apparently you're supposed to do it in Texas and just claim sudden passion. She got 20. I mean, that's still not long enough because she did take the life of a human being, but she got 20 years, which means she was not allowed to raise her children. She was not allowed to keep practicing dentistry and all that other stuff. Here's the thing that's a trip, though. David's parents testified on Clara's behalf. Wow. Okay, David's parents. David's parents, I need to talk to y'all. Like, yes, she killed our son, but he was cheating on her. Like, what is the calculation that went into that move? Like, okay. And of course, since David is no longer on this mortal coil, then he has an estate and he had all this money. Those parents, turns out, once Clara was convicted and got her 20 years, they sued Clara for wrongful death. Let me get this straight. You testified on her behalf that this murderation was an oopsie. It was like an oopsie murder, but now you're going to sue her for wrongful death? Apparently, David had told his parents, hey, mom and dad, if anything ever happens to me, you're going to get some money and I'm going to take care of you for the rest of your lives. But even if I'm still alive, I got these 6 dental practices. I'm going to take care of y'all forever. So apparently they didn't plan well for retirement. So they were like, hey, Clara, girl, we're going to need some of that cash. And Clara was like, yeah, nah, that he should have wrote y'all in the will because nah. So the parents were like, oh, gotcha. We tried to help you and now you're not going to give us the money. We're suing you. Unclear what happened with that lawsuit. And I was like, well, obviously the grandparents will raise the twin boys. Again, no. The twin boys were raised by a friend of Clara's. So I'm guessing she's not still close with his family. The daughter, the 16-year-old daughter that was in the car at the time of the circling of the parking lot, said that Clara calmly said, oh, I'm going to hit him. Oh, okay. So it was a lot of dysfunction in this. I mean, I guess you could tell there was dysfunction by the fact that she ran him over 5 times. You know, in case that part of it had missed you, she was upset. So Clara went to prison and she did her time. Get this. She went up for parole 3 times. Nobody ever makes it on the first time. From what I hear, what I know about parole. The second time they was like, yeah, nah, girl, we're going to need you to cook a little bit longer. Third time she comes up in 2018. They're like, yeah, you can go free. So she's out of prison. She's out here in your neighborhood of mine. It's unclear where she lived while she was in prison because, you know, she was smart. She was a dentist. She learned to translate things from just like regular written to Braille. And now she's a textbook author of Braille books. And she's on LinkedIn. I think I'm going to find her on LinkedIn and friend her just to see what she's up to. Apparently, some reporter just a couple of years ago, last year, knocked on her door and was like, hey, Clara, girl, how you doing? How you doing? What's going on? What's going on? She was like, yes, this is why you need Ring doorbell. Because you're like, who is this heifer on my step? No, thank you. This reporter knocked on her door early in the morning. Clara was still in her bathroom having a cup of coffee and was like, I'm sorry, what? You want what now? You want to interview me? Why would anybody want to hear from me? And I was like, I want to see what she looks like now. She refused to have her face or her voice seen, but she sat down with this reporter at her kitchen table over a cup of coffee, manners, for an hour and told her side of the story. Her side of the story is a trip. Also, her reflections up on this case blew my mind. First of all, Clara was like, I only hit him once. We had an accident reconstructionist reconstruct the accident to prove that I only hit him once. Only the judge threw it out because the reconstruction dude forgot to carry the one or something. He did the math wrong. And once he did the math right, it was like, oh, she hit him 5 times. Yeah, I can't, no. Sorry, had I carried that one, then I would have known that you're a murderer. So, So Clara was like, I think if he would have carried that one, y'all would have seen that I only hit him once. Ma'am, you're not allowed to hit people even once. I don't know if they told you that in How to Get Away with, I just, So she was like, but also, I never got my personal belongings back from that night. Do you have my personal property? In the car at the police station, they took all the property from the car. And in Clara's car, the weapon of destruction, they found some relationship books, Dr. Phil's Relationship Rescue. I'm willing to bet that one of the relationship rescue methods was not running somebody over with your Mercedes. They found 2 or 3 books about relationships. They found Clara's wedding album, which she wants back. Girl, let it go. Let it go. In her handbag, she's like, did you ever find my purse? I've been looking for my driver's license for like 20 years now. And they were like, yeah, girl, wait, this little zebra purse, this is the purse. She was like, yes. You think I can get that back? Ma'am, I'm going to need you to let it go. Clara lives a nice, quiet life where she has reconnected with her sons who are now 25. Ooh, same age as my son. I'm trying to think. If I went to prison when my kids were 4 and now they're 25-year-olds, what would they be thinking of me now? And she's like, I have sat my boys down and I've told them my side of the story. And they know I'm a good person. And I gave people nice smiles. And I also encouraged them to brush and floss. So it's happily ever after. Okay. For her. Not so much for David. All right. That's your deadly dentist for the day. Get on back to the office. You know your boss is wondering where you went. Look, take your earphones out. Act like you was listening to like something educational and not just street gossip. We out here in these YouTube streets talking about folks. But look, have a good rest of your day. Tomorrow we wrap up Deadly Dentist Week with another Deadly Dentist. We'll see you then. Bye.